What's up everyone, it's Stevie and we're back in 99 Nights in the Forest, and today I'm going to be showing you every single class currently in the game and all of their abilities. And when I'm talking about abilities, I'm talking about these because there are 3 different levels of abilities. You get the first level free, so it comes with the actual class, and then these you have to grind and level up to be able to, well, get them unlocked. Now, I have every single class in here unlocked, and I'm going to be showing you what all these different levels and their abilities do. That way you know what each class does and whether or not it's worth unlocking. All right, we're going to start out with the camper. So the camper starts out with a bunch of stuff. So first of all, you get an old flashlight, which is really nice, but I mean, you don't really need it because flashlights are like literally everywhere. It's not too hard to find those. You also get reduced hunger, which is really nice. So you don't starve as fast as other players who don't have a class. At level 2, you have increased visibility at night. So I'm going to wait until nighttime here. We're going to show you that. That way you can see if it's worth it. And for the level 3 upgrade, you'll notice I have a stew in my inventory, which is really helpful, especially early game, if you have that upgrade, because stew goes a long way. I mean, it's pretty much half your hunger bar. I think the main thing that I really like about this one, though, is the reduced hunger, because one of the biggest challenges in the game, if you don't like set up proper farms early on, is hunger, although it's not that bad to be able to just go and cook meat too. All right, so we have nighttime here. You can see when you're in here, you can see pretty well. It feels like it's just a little brighter. I think the range is just a little bit better too, but it's not that much brighter. It's still really dark. So I don't know that this one's really worth the vision upgrade. So this is what it usually looks like without the camper class at nighttime. And this one is with. And as far as stew goes, you know, I'm sure you've seen this already, but stew just basically gives you like half your hunger bar filling up. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what stew is. But yeah, it just fills that up. Next class we're going to do is Scavenger. Scavengers are really cool looking. You get this wrench, but you don't really bring it in the game. Also, all of these you don't actually look like. It would be nice if they had an option for you to look like the class, because these look pretty cool. Like, you imagine going in with like this guy. It looks legit. But yeah, unfortunately, there's no way to like go in visually looking like these. So in the previous screen, you probably saw that you had a wrench. Well, you don't really have a wrench. You don't even bring that into the game. In fact, you get no items with this class. It's all just abilities. So the first thing you'll notice is we have more space in our sack here. Usually you have 5, but we have 7. So you get a +2 slot on that, which is really nice, especially for scavenging or looting. That's pretty much all you get for level 1. Level 2, however, you do get faster chest opening. So this is the level 2 perk, which is 20% faster chest opening. I don't really see a bonus of this other than maybe if you're about to die to like wolves or something, you just really need to get stuff. Maybe you're trying to avoid cultists and want to loot quick, like this right here. You got this wolf. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really help that much. Try that again. Wow, I'm almost dead. Yeah, it's not that big of an increase. I don't really care for that one. The level 3 perk, however, is pretty cool. So you have a chance to get scrap whenever you're looting chests, which in my opinion is really, really powerful for late game. A lot of people who haven't really played many games probably don't realize how bad it gets from a scrap standpoint. I think scraps is one of the most scarce resources in the map. Obviously, you have infinite resources for trees, but when it comes to scrap, you have a limitation because after a while, things stop spawning. You can respawn some stuff using flowers, but scraps becomes very, very limited. So we're going to see if we can get some scraps from some chests. All right, here's another chest. Let's see what happens. Will we get scraps? No scraps, but we got a good axe. No scraps. No scraps. So far what I'm seeing is scraps aren't very common from chests, but there's a chance. No scraps. I was gonna say no scraps, but yeah, no, we got scraps right there. Yeah, it seems like it's maybe 1 in like 10, maybe like a 10% chance. So next up, we're gonna use the medic, and this is obviously a healing class that's gonna help you with your team. The medic starts with the bandage, and then of course you get a med kit. Now I can't show the revives in here because obviously I'm solo, but it does have 5 times faster revives, and then level 2 is going to be improved revive on others, restoring more HP and hunger. So whenever you revive a friend, instead of it, you know, respawning you with like low hunger and not so great health, it's going to have more HP and you're not going to be as hungry when you respawn. So level 3, 1 bandage upgrades to a med kit. So I don't really need to show a whole lot on this one other than it's great for, you know, keeping your team healed. But once these items are gone, it's not the best. Next up, we're going to be showing the cook. So with the cook, you have this seasoning shaker. It looks like pepper, like a pepper shaker, and you can season food. And seasoned food restores more hunger. There we go. Now we got to season this because it's now a new object. So we got to season it again. And that's now seasoned cooked morsel. So we're going to leave that right there. I'll show you the comparison of like a normal one next to a seasoned one. There we go. That's a normal one, and then that's a seasoned one. All right, we're going to season just one of these carrots. This one's unseasoned, this one's seasoned. All right, so I'm going to eat the meat here. I'll let you be the judge. So here's the seasoned one. Look like I did like a little bit of a chunk here. And here's the non-seasoned one. Honestly, they look identical to me. I don't really see the difference. Let's try this one. This is just a carrot. So it did like maybe that much. This is a seasoned carrot. Yeah, I mean, it looks like maybe it's like a 5% increase. So the level 2 ability for the cook is that the crock pot cooks faster. So let's go and try that out. See if it's noticeable. I'm about to die. I need me some stew. Oh, it's not too bad. Let's go ahead and season it. Let's try it out. Yeah, I mean, it definitely did a little bit more. I think it's got to be 5%. It's got to be a 5% increase. As far as the speed of this, I didn't really notice a huge difference. Maybe someone else did. And the level 3 ability for the cook is that you have a 25% chance to make hearty stew. So let's try to make that. This is attempt number 2. First one did not give us hearty stew. Supposed to be like a 1 in 4. That's another stew. It feels like the time in between making stew is faster though. Like usually it takes a while for it to reset. This is attempt number 3. It's stew, hearty stew. Nope, we're getting scammed. Oh, we finally got hearty stew. So seasoned stew is like, I want to say not quite 60%, but it's pretty high up there. It might be 60. And regular stew, I want to say is like 50%. That seemed like it took about 6 attempts. So I'm not really sure that it's a 25% chance. Granted, it is chance based, so maybe it is correct, but it definitely felt more rare than 25%. And we got another hearty stew. That was like 1 out of 2. This is what they look like in comparison to the normal ones. Like the normal ones are a little smaller. So that's the size difference between a hearty stew and a normal. Oh yeah, let's season it. All right, now I'm hungry, so I'm going to go ahead and eat one of these, see what happens. So we're about that far down. That was way more than a regular stew. Next class we're going to do is the Hunter. This is all about bear traps. So the Hunter starts out with 2 bear traps, which isn't all that impressive. Although I guess it's kind of helpful in some way, but you don't really need them. Here's the bear traps. The nice thing about it is they do, once they trigger, you can like reset them. The problem is when you're being attacked, unless you have a ton of these, they're kind of useless. Like if you have like maybe 15 of them, they're pretty helpful. But at the start, not so good. But you don't just get the bear traps. You also have an increased meat drop rate. So when you're trying to kill stuff for meat, you have an increased drop rate for meat from whatever you're killing. So this one is dropping 2, which is fine. Not really surprising with that. You know, they typically drop 2. I don't really care so much about meat in this game. Typically speaking, you have way too much. You don't really need it. And so most of the time you don't even pick it up. So I'm not really impressed with this class just based on that. Level 2, you get a higher pelt drop rate, which is nice. So if you're trying to get the feet, maybe you're killing wolves to be able to get the, pelt trade or something. That's kind of nice. So let's see if we can get a pelt from our first wolf kill here. And we didn't, but we got a lot of meat from that. Try this one. Yeah, we got one from that. Look at all the meat though. You definitely get more from wolves. The meat drop rate's pretty, sad for rabbits, but for wolves it's pretty good. Where's the cook when I need it? These would taste so much better seasoned. Now, level 3, you get an extra wolf pelt trade. So we're going to do that real quick. It is turning nighttime, but it is day 1, so we're not going to get attacked. So let's just go out there and kill another wolf. See if we can get another pelt. Yep, we did. Yeah, that's kind of nice if you're trying to get the pelts, but that's only really helpful early game. Like pelts aren't that useful late game. We got 2 pelts already. That's crazy. All right, so the pelt trader's here. Let me go and turn in my rabbit foot. We'll take good sack. Now he wants a wolf pelt. Typically speaking, the order is rabbit foot, wolf pelt, alpha wolf pelt, and then a bear pelt. So we'll go ahead and get good axe, and then he's gonna ask for another wolf pelt, which is the perk for this particular class. Like typically speaking, that doesn't happen, but we'll go ahead and get leather armor, and then the next one's gonna be the alpha wolf pelt. So that's kind of helpful. I mean, you get basically a freebie. It's early game. That's kind of nice. Dude, that rabbit just got sliced by my bear trap. Rip rabbit. The next one we're going to do is the very slick Ranger, dude. Look at the shades. Dude, the visuals on this one are nuts. Now, this one's all about guns, all right? So you start out with a revolver. You also start out with 30 ammo only if you have level 3 tier. Otherwise, you're going to be starting out with 18 ammo. You do start out with a flashlight, which is kind of nice, I guess. I mean, Camper, which is a cheaper class, starts out with a flashlight, but we don't really care about flashlights. But starting with the revolver is pretty nice. You have a 10% chance of refund ammo on shots. So let's see if we can get some refunded ammo. We got 30. It's not working yet. Give me a refund. Typically speaking, I wouldn't recommend wasting your ammo on rabbits. Now, it does say refund on shot. It doesn't say on hits. Oh, interesting. It just went up. It is working. It's just not great. Beyond that, there's not like any other perks for this one. You just start out with some items and you have a chance to not use up all your ammo. Next class we're going to use is the Lumberjack. This is a lot of fun. I love using this one. This one's all about trees. So what I like about this one is you do start out with a good axe. So right out the gate, it's way easier for you to chop wood. Super OP in that sense. You're going to be getting a lot of wood very early game, which is kind of critical. Like without wood, you can't really craft anything. So, and you can see I just got 5. Now, the reason why I got 5 logs is that's part of the perks for this one. So you have a 20% chance to get an extra log from trees. That's built in for level 1. You know, obviously we have the good axe, and then the level 2, you have a 25% chance to get double saplings. So let's see if we get 2 saplings from this tree. Yep, we got 2, which is really helpful if you're trying to make like a, you know, a wall of trees around your base. So you could just get a lot of saplings from cutting down these trees. And as far as level 3, though, you have a 20% chance to get 1 to 2 bonus logs from trees. So kind of the same thing as the like level 1 perk, except you have I guess a maximum of 2 that you can get lucky with. But I don't really see it. Sometimes you still only get 3 logs. But I do see more here with the saplings. So that's kind of OP. I think that's my main thing that I really like about this one is you get, you know, you start out with a decent axe, and then you also have the extra saplings, which is pretty nutty. So you're not going to run out of wood with this one. Now, the next 2 are going to be combat specific. So we have the Brawler, which is going to be very much melee. The Assassin's a little bit more ranged, but still also close range. So the Brawler is a little bit more tanky than the Assassin. Assassin's kind of squishy. This one's tanky. First of all, you start out with leather armor, which is nice. I mean, you already have the leather armor. Then you have a plus 20% HP. So you're super OP. You're not going to dive as easily as, say, someone that's the Assassin, who's probably going to die a lot. Now, there's one downside to this class that's probably the biggest negative, which makes me not want to use this one ever, is that you can't use ranged weapons. So you can only use melee weapons. On the flip side of that, you have a 30% damage buff with melee. So, you know, if you're going around killing wolves with your axe, you're going to get 30% more damage with this. So let's just try this regular axe here on this rabbit. I mean, it doesn't really feel better, but let's go try it on wolves. Here, Wolfie. Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I can see it. You definitely feel tankier too. I barely took any damage from that. Now, level 2 is kind of nice too, because you get 10% faster regen, and regens also start sooner after taking initial damage. So you're going to be able to recover a lot faster. You can see I'm regenning pretty quickly up here. So this one's all about survival. If you're having struggles in the game, you just feel like you keep dying, this is really, really tanky class. This might be designed specifically for you. The level 3 ability is a 5% chance to block damage as well. So like I said, this is really just a tank class. Plus you can do 30% more damage with melee. That's kind of neat, unless you want to use a tactical shotgun. And finally, my favorite class in the game is the Assassin here. This is not a tier video. I will be doing a tier list eventually for all these classes. So this class is not only faster with its sprint, it's 10% faster with sprinting. It starts out with a katana. Look at this. This does so much damage. So let me show you how much it does damage to the rabbits. 2 hits. Look at that. 1, 2. Just pretty crazy. On top of the katana, you have throwing knives. So you start out with 120 of these kunais or kunyes. I'm terrible at pronouncing weapons, okay? But yeah, check this out. These things are so good. Yeah, these are crazy good. And you can machine gun them too. So if you want to like launch them really, really fast, you can. I wish you could pick them up like after they land. You should be able to pick them back up. That'd be cool. The downside is you have negative 15% HP. So you're going to die a lot if you're squishy. Like if you're not very good at the game, you might die a lot. Same with traps. If you fall in traps a lot, you might die a lot because this one has 15% less HP. One of the perks for level 1 is that you have a 5% chance for throwing knives to spawn in chests. Then during my 500 nights run, I found a ton of these. So yeah, you're going to find them in chests. The level 2 perk is pretty nice because with your first hit on an enemy, you have a chance to get a critical strike. It's going to do a lot more damage. And as far as level 3, you have a 10% chance of throwing knives to spawn in chests, which is pretty nice. It's pretty much the same as level 1, only 5% more likely to happen. Again, I really like this because you start out with so many great weapons early game. Downside is you're probably going to die a lot. The other major downside is it's a very, very expensive class. I will be doing a video showing you how to get diamonds very easily. I mean, I say easily. I'll show you the easiest ways. I mean, it's still pretty hard. There's a bunch of ways to get diamonds. I feel like they need to make it a little easier though. Now, one thing I kind of left out is the cost of each of these. So the camper is currently 10 diamonds. Again, they can always change it. Scavenger's 20 diamonds. Medic's 40. Cook is 40. The hunter's 40. Ranger is 70. Lumberjack Lumberjack is 70, Brawler's 100, and this one I just covered, which is 500. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you'd like to. Until next time, happy grinding. Peace.